Hello everyone. So basically, I'm angry and upsetty, and that's the vibe for this video. I wanted to talk about a few things like my experience at UBC's art major program, my hopes for other art programs, and what I'm doing about that right now, and my frustration with the system. So basically, I, like most other people, went to university without really thinking about why or if I should even go. That coupled with being the gifted kid, or whatever, I hate saying that, anyways, who everyone was anticipating would do great things, forced me to kind of do things I didn't want to do, like go to university, as I realized later. Also, I was a weeb. Oh my god, let's laugh at her. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I know. And my dream was, emphasis on was, to go to Japan. I was like most other weebs, dead set on the JET program and teaching in Japan. Now, with my adult brain, I realize that moving away won't solve my problems. And that's a whole other story. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm from Ontario and moved to British Columbia for school because UBC had a better Japanese program. And in first year, I ended up taking a bunch of random courses because that's what they force you to do in most universities. Besides Japanese, I also took Chinese, Korean, because I was, not just a weeb, I was a mega weeb. I was like, oh yeah, give me it all. But I ended up dropping Korean because I was going insane. Japanese was insanely hard, probably because I took intensive course. So I ended up going with Chinese in the long run because it was actually fun, and UBC forces art students to speak a second language because deep down they don't believe our degree is useful in art. So they're like, at least if you know a second language, you can do something with that. Also, I do speak a second language, but they refuse to test me on it because it's not a written language, so that was dumb. So in first year, a lot of bad things happened halfway through, and I got disowned by my family, yada yada. So, what I realized in the end was that what I really wanted in life was to have a place to call home. So, moving to Japan and leaving everything I know really didn't line up with that. I became a person seeking change to someone wanting stability because I didn't really have a place or people to call my home. Being an abroad ESL teacher was out of the question then, and what was left for me was art. So I decided to be an art major, since that's the only subject I was half good at. Biggest mistake of my life. I thought it was just UBC, but now I'm watching some videos on YouTube about people who have gone to art school, and I'm starting to realize I think it's all art schools, and you have to be some kind of crazy person to admit yourself to that trauma. I took everything from printmaking, photography, drawing, painting, digital art, sculpture, whatever. I feel so bad for myself about how excited I was to start as an art major. I was so misled. What they don't tell you about being an art major is that they don't tell you anything, literally. There is no tutorial. They just say, go home, make a chair, bring it to class to show everyone, and then we'll all judge you. Not even silently, we'll literally straight up judge you. This was literally an assignment my friend had in her class at another art school. They won't teach you how to do anything, even when you ask. In my digital art class, which I thought would have been digital painting, but instead was just clipping videos and video editing, another disappointment, we had to use Adobe Premiere or whatever to make a montage. The prof straight up said, do not ask me anything about Premiere. Go look up YouTube videos and how to use it. Of course, YouTube videos didn't help because it's always some unknown error or problem, and I don't even have the vocab to describe my problem on the internet. This wasn't the case in just digital art class, but I did hate that class so much that I did a montage of how many times in that 2 weeks that class made me cry, and it was a very long video of just me crying the class and the TA were quite disturbed about the video, but yeah, it was kind of awkward to show everyone. But anyways, so this was the case in all my art classes. The only time we were given a how-to was my printmaking class, because they didn't want us to ruin their printmaking machine. And even then, the prof was like, I'm going to show you once, and I'm going to show you so fast that you can't even take notes. But if you don't get it down, it's your own fault, and I will be passive-aggressive if you ask me how to do anything again. So with painting and drawing and photography and everything else, you essentially already had to be good in order to get a half-decent mark. And I do mean half-decent. They're so anal and unwilling to give out good marks in the UBC Visual Arts program that it drove me insane, especially as someone who, was used to getting good marks in high school and then got destroyed when I went to university anyways. It's like, why am I pouring out my heart and trauma into this piece to only get 70%? Then I'll draw something bad that I hate, that's not good at all by my standards, and will get a way better mark. And when you get a bad mark, they won't even tell you why. I drew a 3-point perspective drawing of my room, like fully shaded and everything at the time. And despite the criteria saying it had to be fully shaded and complete looking, I got a 16 out of 20, and someone who had just done line work in pen got an 18 out of 20. Which was the highest mark given for the assignment. I was so mad, and the TA who marked it straight up had no answer for me. How do I get better? Ha, too bad. Wah wah, loser. That's essentially what she said, I swear. Going to art school won't make you better at art. It'll basically make you better at BSing and finishing things at the last minute. You'll go in and come out with the same skills you had before going in. Sometimes you'll even get worse. That's what happened to me, because I wasn't drawing what I wanted to and was busy making chairs and writing BS artist statements and making literal garbage into an assignment that I didn't have time to practice my art. Imagine going to a school for 4 years and you end up the exact same or worse at your major, but now you're $50,000 in debt. Only art kids, man. Another thing, why do we have to learn about art history? If I take a computer science class, do I have to learn about computer science history? No. If I'm in a chemistry course, do I have to learn about the origins of chemistry? No. It's only in art where you have to learn about the beginnings of the profession. Why? Knowing about that loser Duchamp and his urinal won't make me a better artist in practice. It's because they don't think that practical art is useful, so they refuse to teach us practical art they refuse to teach us practical art, so to fill in this space, they have to fill it in with fodder information to make it feel like you're doing something important. They're just like giving you tasks and making you feel like you're important. Like, hey, can you click this button every day and see like just do that, and then you think you're doing something, but really you're just clicking a button every day. And they just want you to feel, okay, you know what? Yeah, you get it. Whoever makes the art programs where you also have to learn art history doesn't really value art, in my opinion. And I know I said you have to be good at art to succeed in getting a half-decent grade, but there's another way. This goes along with BSing. You can't just be good at art. You can be God, and it means absolutely nothing if you're not good at talking about your art. You can never, never say, I drew this tree because I like trees, period. You might as well ask to fail the class. You have to make up some crazy story like a tree raised me and acted like my mother when I was an infant abandoned by my parents. Shout out to Spectre from Yu-Gi-Oh! Brains. And I hate that. Why can't things just be what they are? Why can't you draw something because it makes you happy? Why do I have to pour out all my trauma to get a half-decent grade? I hate it. So unfair and not what art should be. Also, the workload. Art takes forever to complete, but they expect you to finish things as if that was the only thing going on in your life and not like you have 4 other classes which assigned crazy amounts of work. Like, I know in math and science they also do that, but I feel like in art it's worse because of how long one piece takes you. Like, you can't just be done. You have to keep drawing it and drawing it, and it takes a lot of time. You can't just know the answer and be done. You have to keep going. Like in math, when you finish the problem set, you're done and you're either correct or incorrect. In art, you're always wrong, and it took you 12 hours on one piece to realize that. Now go do 4 others that will sap your life force and complete them by tomorrow. Speaking of my classes, let's talk about some of the profs. I hated them. All of them, except for this one prof, who helped me when I had a mental breakdown and walked me to the counselor's office and talked to me while we were in the waiting room. Shout out to her. Forgot her name. So there was this prof I had for an art history course who was super stuck up. I do remember his name, but I won't say it. Like, the best thing you could be doing with your life was eating every word he was oozing. If you were late, he would stop the whole class of 100 people and call you out. Bro, you're lucky I even came to your garbage class. You literally don't even teach. You just go on tangents about random garbage the whole time. And it's not like I wanted to be late. We are only given 10 minutes to get from class to class. And I had a painting class before this, and it took forever to clean the brushes. Then I had to drag around my huge portfolio suitcase halfway across the campus to make it to your dumb class. How horrible it is to discourage kids from even coming to your class. We're paying for this, and you're discouraging us from coming? If I want to be late, I can be late. It's my money and my time. Another thing about art profs is that in a very bad way, they have no filter for what they're going to show you and call it art. A prof showed us a video where a guy was masturbating under the floor in an art gallery for 16 hours. Like, we didn't watch it for 16 hours, but the guy did it for 16 hours. And this was part of his art somehow, by the way. Also get used to seeing dead bodies, apparently, because there are a lot of artists that are interested in those. They draw them, photograph them, and they're shown to you all without warning, or at least they were to me. Also dead animals and animals getting decapitated. Art profs are super out of touch with reality as well. They think art only belongs in a museum, like forget social media and Patreon and YouTube, like whatever. Those are useless and you'll never get a career out of those. Obviously forget anime, don't even try. You know, the stereotypical how art profs hate anime, it's totally true. They hate everything cartoony. Anyways, after a mental breakdown of hating art during a drawing midterm, I decided to switch my major to English language, which is different from English literature at UBC. I'm now aiming to be an English high school teacher. Hooray! Wow, so cool. I know, right? What else are you going to do with an English degree? You're so funny. The thing is, now I'm mid-breakdown thinking I don't want to be an English teacher. I know literally nothing about anything. I don't even know how Romeo and Juliet ends. I think one of them drinks poison and the other one is so shook he dies somehow. So then I thought, why not go to art school, but like an actual one this time where they actually teach me things like how to draw, animation? I was so excited at these prospects that I immediately applied to Ontario colleges for animation. Another mistake. After doing more research, I found out that this isn't just a UBC art major problem. It's an endemic. I basically wasted $130 for nothing applying because even if I were to get accepted, it would be my experience at UBC all over again, and all I want is someone to teach me animation. No sculpture, no photography or movie making, no art history, no costume design, nothing, whatever. The problem is I don't think this exists. How is that possible? Are we just doomed to suffer as art kids and no one cares enough to change the system? I wanted to air out my frustrations and kind of get my thoughts out about all this. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't want to be in school. I don't want to be an English teacher, and I don't want to go to art school as it is right now. The dream, you ask? That would be getting paid to draw Yu-Gi-Oh fan art. That's probably not happening though. I hope this video helps some people who I guess want to get into the UBC art program or any art program. really think about if this is what you want. I know if you told me before all this, before I was an art major, and that this is how it is, it wouldn't deter me. I'd think she's wrong. Art is my passion. I'll be great. But trust me, it's not. This isn't exactly an attack on UBC as a school, but how art programs are run in modern day, where everything, as far as I've seen, forces you to do things you don't want to be doing. I don't know what I'll do in the future, but I really hope that I'm happy.